Pivotal Ventures is a venture capitalist, and you're involved in this. I didn't realize for the last several years you'd been looking to help fund companies that were alternatively led, maybe not led by white men who were out there. This is, again, something I didn't realize you were doing. How'd you get to this point?
Yeah, so I founded a company called Pivotal Ventures in 2015, and really the point is, again, as I traveled the world, I had to ask myself, is there anywhere in the world that we have true equality for women? And the answer is no. We just don't, not even in the United States. And so there are some gaps in particular in the United States that I wanted to help fill, separate from the foundation. And so I formed Pivotal Ventures. And one of the places I focus that company on is women in tech. Women are so underrepresented in the technology sector in the United States, and yet tech is pervasive. It is changing our lives. And so women have to be able to have their great ideas come forward, not just have a seat at the table, but have their great ideas come forward to help change society.
Why do you think it is that only about 2% of VC funding goes to companies that are headed by women?
I think that industry became a boys' network very early. Less than 8% of partners at VC funds are women at the partner level. And I don't know about you, but I think that's more a symptom of the funders, not the founders. And so the fact that less than 2% of funding goes to women's companies, that's crazy. Or less than 1% goes to a woman of color. And so we have to change that. And so I'm investing in people like Aspect Ventures or Defy Capital or Female Founders Fund, where their funds absolutely expect a return. I expect a good return, but they over-index for women's businesses.
You know, there's been so much talk about this in California. There's a proposed rule that would force companies to have a certain number of board members that are women. We talked about this with Sally Krawcheck recently, and she's not a fan of government legislation doing these things, but she said, someday I might be, because nothing else seems to be working. What's your thought on this? Do you have a larger thought, or is this just, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is?
I'm putting my money where my mouth is right now, but I'm watching that, and I'm collecting data from around the world, and I'm looking at it, because there are places that sometimes quotas make sense for a time to get things going. For instance, one of the countries that has the most number of women parliamentarians is Rwanda. It's because President Kagame came in and said, we will have at least 40% of women parliamentarians. They're way over that now. And so some of the places in Europe are looking at quotas for a time. And I don't know if that's right for the United States, but I know we need to do something to accelerate women in business.
So what have you found at Pivotal so far? What have your investments done? What has your research shown you there?
So one of my pieces of research also shows me that we need to create new pathways for women into technology. That first opening computer science class at college is too late. We need to work there. There are great universities changing that class to make it accessible to women, changing things in high school so that women want to go into tech. They see role models. They know they can do it. So I see that. I also see that we have a workforce today, a workplace, I should say today, that's not designed for families. And yet, if you interview most men and women around the United States, they have families. So we need to have a good paid family medical leave policy. So if you have an elderly parent that needs care, you have a young child, you go out for pregnancy, you can come back to your career. We're one of only 8 countries in the world that doesn't have a paid family leave policy. That's crazy.
I don't know if everyone knows your background from before. You went to Duke, you went to the Fuqua School of Business, you worked at Microsoft and headed up a lot of initiatives there. You've seen the corporate workplace. What was it, 1996 when you joined Microsoft?
I joined actually in 1987.
1987.
And I left in 96.
Left in 96.
Yeah.
So you've seen this for a long time. You have your own experiences that you can kind of fall back on. This is what women around the country are kind of watching right now in this Me Too movement. We see changes taking place. Do you think that this is taking place across corporate America? And where do you think we are on this journey?
I think it's spotty right now. I think there are places where we are moving forward. And I think there will continue to be a pushback where there'll be places where people will try to roll back the progress. The thing that makes me optimistic, though, this time that's very different, if you interview women who are over 60, and then you interview younger women and you look at the generation in between, this younger generation is about bringing all women forward. There's a lot of guilt from women who are over 60s. They say, I made it, I assimilated, but I was kind of one of one. And I think everybody sees that we need to get better across society, government, corporations, founding businesses. It can't be just in one industry. We can't accept that less than 14% of women have paid family medical leave. We just can't accept that anymore. And so I'm starting to see everyone speak out and say, this is not right. And when something goes wrong, you see a cacophony of voices coming in saying, no, let's keep moving forward.
You know, medical leave isn't just for women, it's for men
No.
too. And you start to see men taking more advantage of that, and paternity leave too. Is that the pathway?
It absolutely is the pathway. And we need to say to men, it's okay to go out and to take leave. Because one of the things is when a man takes a leave, he's more involved in raising the children. It's better for him and it's better for the kids. Women around the world do 7 years of unpaid labor that their husbands don't do. In the United States, women do 5 years of unpaid labor their husbands don't do. We do 90 minutes more a day. You know, make the school lunch, help with the homework, fix the breakfast, drive them to school. We need to look at that and recognize women are working today. They're in the workforce, but we have to redistribute the workload at home. And paid family medical leave for men and women helps with that.
You're a mom not only of 2 daughters, but also of a son. How do you kind of look at them going out in the world, and what are your hopes?
My hopes and dreams for my kids are that they reach their full potential and that anything they want to do, they can do, and that they end up in an equal relationship. And I'm incredibly proud of them. My son allows me to call him a feminist. He believes in women having equality. My daughters believe in it too. And I'm excited to see where they go in the world.